Ladies and gentlemen, we are live ahead of the White House's historic press briefing. It's been really long since we've gotten one of these. The last one was almost one full month ago, December 10th. So, feeling a little rusty on Caro. Nice. Got some fills there. Main thing to realize, guys, for this speech, it's supposed to start at 11. Obviously, she's always late. I think she's expected to be like at least probably 20 to 30 minutes late. There's so much for the White House to talk about right now. I mean, you have capture of Maduro. Obviously, that's really big. The fact that they announced they're going to try to keep the oil, that they're getting from Venezuela. You have everything happening with Greenland, where Trump originally threatened potentially to use military force to acquire parts of Greenland, and then Marco Rubio just walked it back and said, obviously, they're going to try to take a diplomatic approach. You have Tim Walz with all the kind of reporting on supposed healthcare fraud, which may point you to be like, this is going to be Greenland heavy, Venezuela heavy, which, there's definitely truth to. But one thing to keep in mind is that she's going to be joined. There's going to be multiple speakers at this press briefing. It was announced a few hours ago. So she's going to be joined by Kennedy. So they're going to do a little Maha speech talking about, making America healthy again. Probably talk about lowering drug prices. Kind of, I'd imagine they're going to use the same kind of favored nations talking points. Trump has loved that talking point lately. If you've watched his latest speeches, he will spend like 30 minutes talking about favored nation drug pricing. Yeah, let's go, Ivan. Let's see. FBI is now down to 50-50. Didn't they have that? I guess FBI can come up with Dan Bongino, but it's now been a few weeks. But yeah, I mean, so far, main position I'm in is just I have a little bit of no Greenland, but I'm in at 19 cents. Again, she's probably going to say Greenland, but yeah, I could see it, Ivan. She's probably going to talk about, Greenland, Venezuela, all this stuff, but I just think at 19 cents, it's a little overbought on the yes side. I think during the whole, like after Trump's inauguration, when the original Greenland talks kind of started, um, she didn't bring up Greenland once to my knowledge. So even though it's like big in the media reporting now, I just think there's a chance she could weave it. So again, at like 5-1, um, I think there's value there. And the fact that, they do have multiple speakers here. Oh, I'm sorry, poor Fox. I don't know. Are you international? Like outside the US? Maybe that's why it's like they don't know how to verify stuff or something. Yeah, it seems like they're still figuring that out, the international stuff, because I have heard that from a few people that they're getting like super delayed. Hopefully they figure it out. She hasn't spoken since Christmas, so hope she opens with hope you all had a Merry Christmas. Yeah, I I know, Tonka. I'm anti-American here. Again, guys, like realize too. I think she's gonna say these things, but I'm getting no at 19 cents, so I think there's value, especially given there's you have to realize there's so many things they can talk about here. So many things. You have obviously Greenland is one of them. In the last few days, that's been big. Um, I don't think Trump himself publicly has been talking about Greenland a lot. Obviously, she's gonna get Q&A on Greenland, so it's gonna be whether or not she kind of weaves it. Phantom, no, it's respectable to not have comments on X. Makes it really hard, and the fact that Twitter will default to not having comments on. I think like my first 3 streams had no comments, and I couldn't figure it out. Literally, everyone makes that mistake the first time they do Twitter streams because you have to check a box to enable comments, which is really stupid. Okay, Tonka, you say that, but like as soon as I went live, maybe it's just a random thing. Like Greenland no shot up to like 60 cents, and I'm like, please guys, don't buy Greenland no at 50 cents. Like I don't know. So I'm just limit orders, guys. Remember limit orders, okay? I always talk about it. You're not gonna pay fees with limit orders on mentions, and you won't experience crazy slippage. Set sales before. I know, dude. just dump on them. Yeah, punish copy trading bots. Well, actually, Tonka, I've actually privated my positions now that I hit 100K. I talked about it in my earlier videos, but my positions are now all private. But for those that followed through 100K, you could see all my positions through the whole time. But now that I'm getting into sports and other stuff, there's like certain trades I'm doing that I obviously don't want to be public. You know? Anyways. But yeah, I probably won't get any more walls fills. Look, I mean, I just think there's a lot of questions on what she's going to decide to cover here. So that's why I just think there's probably some value in taking some cheap no's. Other things I looked at is like there is a surely no, and honestly, it's getting closer to 70. I question how like often she's actually gonna say Nick Shirley by name. You know what I mean? Like, does she even? The only reason I could see it is, Nick Shirley actually has gone to these press briefings. You know how they'll ask like the open media, and it's usually like just very like it's like independent people that aren't part of a media org that are super favorable to Trump. Yeah, I'll put a bid up, see if I can get some. I do like it. I was looking at it before. There's actually decent liquidity up to like 76, I think. So maybe I'll pick some up if it right as the speech starts. But oh wow, it's at 75. There's actually some. Well, I'm getting penny jumped. Let's see. Probably I'll just sit at 71. Seems like somebody wanted Shirley, yes. But yeah, I just question if they're going to say it by name. Another funny one to look at is like stock market. I'm going to put in a bid to short stock market at 61. So stock market is very much a talking point of the admin right now. I mean, Trump loves to say stock market, and we are at like an all-time high. But the truth is just Caroline doesn't really reference stock market as much. She definitely has. She said it in a few of her White House press briefings over the years, but it's just, it doesn't hit at a very high strike rate. Granted, like, there are reasons that it could trade where it is now in the sense of, like, it is a Trump talking point currently. The stock market is at an all-time high. But do I think it makes sense at 40? I definitely don't. She could very well say it again, but so Tonka, did you actually watch that whole like House meeting? I heard that they actually said leering. That was like actually hit, which is pretty funny. Yeah, Christmas is funny too. I mean, Ivan, you said you have Yes Christmas. Where Mamdani will be speaking at? Yeah. If I suddenly stop streaming all the Mamdani speeches, you'll know where I am. You'll see me in the crowd. Man, it would be nice to get some fills here. Some people are very confident on stock market. Wow. Again, she could very well... They didn't say Leering? Someone told me they did. Is there a mention for his Jackson Heights speech? You know, as much as I'm like new to New York, I have not been visiting much at all. I've just been freaking sitting in my room on mentions. Wait, so there is a mention for it? Wow. Dude, there's like two speeches going on at once? Holy cow. How do I... Crazy. Wow, these yes strikes are trading... Oh, wait, no, they're pretty low. I gotta lock in on Mamdani, man. I'm actually gonna reach out to the person I use their tool for, see if they can add Mamdani. All right, well, we're 13 minutes late so far. Yeah, FBI is... I'm just curious. Because, again, she hasn't spoken since Dan Bongino was out. I wonder if that's big enough news to where she'd say it in the open. Probably. Like, I feel like probably not, right? There's just, like, so much that's been happening. How do I feel about ICE? Also, like, affordability... Trump didn't even say affordability in his Congress thing yesterday. Let's see. But affordable with affordability. They're going to probably talk about the whole favored nations drug pricing, in which case affordable will likely hit here. So it's not priced high enough to where I'd want to get... No. Did I try to predict how late she would be? No. I have no idea how I would ever be able to predict that. Could the press conference get canceled? No. Not. I mean, anything could happen, right? If there was like a missile strike and they had to cancel it. But I have never been around when a White House press briefing's been canceled, personally. I've never seen it happen. I just threw $100 on over 5 mins to make $3. Nice. You need to spend some time on college basketball? Really? You think there's like edges there? I've actually been thinking about that. I've started focusing on NBA because, like I said, I'm getting more into sports and like live trading those. And I have found some good edges in NBA. Well, actually, what pushed me over the edge was NBA. I made 5K 2 days ago on a pretty cool trade I entered into live, where I was basically hedged, had a low likelihood of a double winning resolution. Yeah, I guess like yeah, I should look at college basketball. Only got fills on walls. These prices are so high. Yeah, I agree, Loom. Like some of these are pretty crazy. Just crazy high. Especially with everything going on. But walls has kind of moved against me, so I didn't really get any more fills. It's just the reason I think Tim Wall's no could have bearing is that I have seen Caroline and the Trump admin use language that the fraud for healthcare and Medicare in Minnesota is under the Biden admin. Why did I trade no on Greenland? Again, so what I was saying earlier, she's probably going to talk about Greenland, but I got no at 19 cents. I think there's value there. At this press briefing, it's going to also have some Maha people like Kennedy and them are going to be there. So there's going to be multiple speakers. I think there's a lot going on right now in the Trump admin to talk about. You have Venezuela with Maduro. You have oil. Obviously, you have Greenland. You have Minnesota with all the supposed fraud that they're surely going to talk about. Somalians, all their regular. So they just have a lot to talk about. It's been a month since their last speech. So I think there's a world she could weave Greenland. I think most likely it's going to come up during Q&A. How do we feel about Biden? Is an 85 yes too low? Yeah, I think 85 yes is too low, to be honest. I'm not a huge, I'm never that interested in buying, these super high-priced stuff. But, yeah, 85 for Biden is probably too low. For context, if anyone's curious, she's given, 10, 15. She's given maybe 20 press briefings going back to June 2025, and she has not missed Biden in a single one. So that's 20 in a row. She said it 10 times in the last press briefing. She does love saying Biden. So I do think 85 is probably too low. I mean, how much is available? I mean, people are probably just thinking New York Mayor Mamdani angle and Maduro angle. To be honest, if I were to buy New York, Tonka, there's only 3 of those 20 where she said it only once. So in the last speech, she said it 10 times. The time before that, she said it 20 times. So she freaking loves saying Biden. And I think she's going to say Biden again. So there probably is value. I should be buying at 85, but I don't know. That's not my favorite thing to do. But I should do it more. If there's value, there's value. Even if it's buying super, New York Mayor Mamdani angle, Maduro angle. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Not because of Mamdani, but because of him being housed in New York. I didn't really think about that. The main reason, actually, if you guys are curious, why New York Mayor is a pretty good strike is because she will say New York when referring to New York Times, and New York Times will have reporters there. Yes, Dustin. Kennedy will be there, a few other people. So these are things that, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to cut into her time. Usually it just means that they'll be, okay, it looks like they're getting ready to come out. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to cut into her speaking time, but it does mean she'll let them speak for a little, in the beginning. It's just something to consider. And the fact that they're talking about Make America Healthy Again, it's something that, to me, could add value to thinking about picking up no's on a lot of these strikes that people think are guaranteed, like Greenland, like this. So that's why I purchased some of them. Healthcare, yes, now all the way up to 80. Holy cow, dude. This was down to 40 this morning? How did I miss this? It jumped as soon as people saw that Kennedy was going to be there. That's very interesting. I definitely think healthcare comes up with favored nations, but I would not buy at 80. How long do these usually last? About 45 minutes. Given that, Kennedy's there, there's a chance this could be an hour, because she could let Kennedy talk, answer his questions, then her talk. Okay, here we go. Here's Kennedy.
Good morning. Yes, come on up, everyone. Lovely officials with me today. All right.
I'm going to mark it by Shirley now, actually.
Thank you so much. Good morning and Happy New Year, everybody. It's great to see you. It's great to be with a very packed room. I'm sorry we kept you all very busy over the holiday break. And I know there is a lot of news out there today, both here at home and around the world. I will be happy to take all of your questions on all of that news. But first, I'm really honored to be standing up here today with esteemed members of the President's Cabinet and his health team to make an important announcement with respect to the President's domestic promise to make America healthy again as we kick off the new year.
Make America
In
healthy
less than
again,
a year in
Maha.
office, the President and his incredible Maha team have made real progress on this front. Here are just a few of the significant Maha achievements thus far.
Let's go,
More than
Maha.
a dozen food manufacturers and trade associations have made commitments to remove artificial and petroleum-based food dyes from their products. The Trump administration
dyes.
took strong action to bar hospitals from performing dangerous, irreversible, life-altering transgender procedures on children. The Trump administration announced funding awards
Holy cow,
to
I didn't even
states
realize
through
there
the Rural Health Transformation Program, an unprecedented $50 billion investment established under President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. The Trump administration
wow.
has also worked with 18 states across the country to ban junk food purchases using SNAP benefits starting this year, and thank you for leading that effort.
Oh, was Snap a strike? It used to be.
Additionally,
It wasn't.
President Trump took historic action to secure most favored nation drug pricing and secured deals with major
Here's the favored
pharmaceutical
nation
companies to
bit. I knew this was
massively
coming.
lower the cost of prescription drugs. And those effects are being implemented as we speak. Americans are going to continue to see the result of these incredible deals the president cut. And I know President Trump and this team behind me worked incredibly hard to lower those drug costs for Americans. On Monday, the CDC adopted common sense updates to America's childhood vaccination schedule based solely on the gold standard of science. This action empowers parents and physicians to make the best individualized decisions to protect our children, while also restoring much needed
45
confidence
minutes,
in our
8.
public health system. And
Is
as
typical.
a Maha mom myself, I'm very grateful for that. So thank you, Secretary.
What is a Maha mom?
To build on this progress,
I wanna
the
be
Trump
a Maha
administration
dad.
is now updating federal nutrition standards and guidelines to ensure that Americans have the most accurate, data-driven information supported by science and hard facts, not special interests or partisan ideology. President Trump has tasked two of the great individuals behind me, USDA Secretary Rollins and HHS Secretary Kennedy, with collaborating on this vitally important project. And today they are here to officially unveil the 2025 to 2030 dietary guidelines for America. These new guidelines are informed by the best and most reliable research on health and nutrition, particularly as it relates to the role of our diets in the prevalence of chronic disease in the country. They are also These guidelines are easy to read and understand, so every American, young and old, can access this information that literally has the power to change lives. But
Change
these are
lives.
not just an updated
A
guideline.
food pyramid.
These are the foundation to
Let's
all
go.
federal food programs in our country. These new guidelines are going to update the food that is served to America's children in our public schools, to the plates that are served to our great men in uniform in our military, our veterans, and the food that they are consuming at the VA.
That's actually
And
pretty
these new
cool.
guidelines
I
are
mean,
also
assuming
going
it's
to enhance
good
nutritional programs for
food
the
stuff,
needy
like
in
they're
our
actually
country,
good advice.
such as WIC and Head Start.
Which I assume it probably is.
Unfortunately, for decades,
But it's
federal
probably
policy
some
has
shit with, like,
has
beef tallow or
promoted
something that they're,
low-quality,
like-
highly processed foods that lead to scores of long-term health issues, which means Americans have gone broke because of these health issues.
They making
Faulty
Americans
dietary
go
guidelines of the
broke.
past stacked the deck against healthy eating and food options for everyday American families, which has fueled
Oh,
the
here's
chronic
healthcare.
disease epidemic and jacked up the healthcare costs of
So I'm like
households across the
3-4
country.
seconds delayed.
This failed approach
Interesting.
in our public health system ends today. When these guidelines are followed, Americans will be saving themselves thousands of dollars. If we want to
Wow, how am I
healthcare
3-4
costs in our
seconds off?
country, we must become a healthier country. According to the
Interesting.
CDA,
I wonder
poor
how
diet
people
is
are
the
beating
root
me.
cause of obesity, which accounts for $400 billion in medical spending each year. A healthier America will lead to a more affordable America. The new
Oh,
dietary
affordability.
guidelines from the Trump
There it is.
administration will ensure federal dollars go to real food to improve public health and therefore save the American
I am
people
fully
their
caught up,
hard-earned-
Brandon.
hard-earned cash
I
over the
can't
course
fast forward
of their
anymore.
lives. So with that, I am going to hand it over to Secretary Kennedy, the great people behind
You're a
the
few
scenes
seconds ahead because you're
that
watching my
take
stream
Q&A
of the
to
stream.
the officials that are here on this specific topic. They will leave because they're all very busy people, and then I will open it up to Q&A with the rest of you on the rest of the news in the world. So
All
thank
right,
you, and we'll
we
start.
made it through the open. But I mean, we expected that because it's just gonna be. We knew this Maha thing, but realize she's gonna take individual Q&A.
Decisive change in federal nutrition policy made possible by President Trump's leadership and the work of Maha moms and public health advocates who demanded reform.
Sorry, I'll turn it up.
Today, in accordance with President Trump's directive, Brooke and I will release
Yes, she will,
the
Bip Up.
dietary guidelines for Americans 2025 to 2030, the most significant reset of federal nutrition policy in history. These
I know,
guidelines
Taco.
replace corporate-driven assumptions
You guys want me to mute it?
with common
Don't you
sense
wanna hear
goals
about how
and
he's
gold
making
standard
America healthy
scientific
again?
integrity. These new guidelines will revolutionize our nation's food culture and make America healthy again.
Chiller, right-click your
For
feed and
decades,
click
Americans
Stats
have
for
grown
Nerds.
sicker while healthcare costs have soared. The reason is clear. The hard truth is that our government has been lying to us to protect corporate profit-taking, telling us that these food-like substances were beneficial to public health. Federal policy promoted and subsidized highly processed foods and refined carbohydrates and turned a blind
Let me turn
eye
this
to
down
the
a bit.
disastrous consequences. Today, the lies stop.
Okay, so
Guidelines
here's what I'm
recognize
thinking
that whole
is
nutrient-dense
if
food
they're going to have a ton of different speakers, there's a chance that some of these yes strikes are going to continue to come down because people will get scared with all these other people talking, which I think is irrational. So if we see movement in the prices before she starts Q&A, maybe we'll buy some cheap yeses or even sell out of some of our no's. Because theoretically, any of these prices that are just going to hit in Q&A should be inelastic to these people just talking.
Added sugars, especially sugar-sweetened beverages, drive metabolic disease.
You really want a
And today,
TikTok
our
stream?
government declares war on
Who?
American
How could you
sugar.
even watch this on your
Highly
phone? You know?
processed foods loaded with additives,
Wouldn't it be,
added
like,
sugar,
super hard to
excess
see?
Salt damage health and should be avoided. As Secretary of Health and Human Services, my message is clear: eat real food.
Man, I've been staying up so late with all these freaking NBA games. I've been up till like 2 a.m. every day.
Activity.
Wait, why can't I hear him? Oh, I'm
Dietary
accidentally
guidelines
moving
shape
the...
dozens of federal feeding programs, including Head Start. These standards affect 45 million school lunches every day, meals for 1.3 million active duty service members, and food served to 9 million veterans in VA hospitals. Today begins the work of aligning those programs with affordable, whole, nutrient-dense food. Implementation requires
Potentially, Tonka.
coordination
I would sell this at
across the
40 for
government.
sure.
I'm working with many of my
Maybe
fellow
I'll just put an
cabinet
order up right
secretaries to
now.
deliver
See if people
results.
start
I want
freaking
to
out.
thank Bobby Mukamala. Thank you very much. Who is the president of the American Medical Association for committing to mobilize the medical community on nutrition. And I thank also
Who is the woman near
Academy of
Levitt?
Pediatrics
Um,
for partnering
That's
on this
the
effort.
secretary
I also look
of...
forward to working
um,
with Dr. Jay Bhattacharya and Dr. Marty McCary to fund and prioritize
What's her
rigorous
name? Let me
nutrition
find it.
research at the NIH
That's
and at the FDA.
Brooke Rollins,
The state's
Secretary of
financial
Agriculture.
burden is severe. A Johns Hopkins analysis estimates that 48% of every federal taxpayer dollar now.
Yeah, I believe that means the whole
Healthcare.
briefing.
The CDC reports that 90% of healthcare spending treats chronic disease.
So, like,
That
even when
means
she's not
that
speaking, is my
40%,
understanding.
40 cents of every
So
dollar
this should count
taxpayers
as this
pay in this
going on.
country is going to treat diseases that could be
You could
avoided.
see it's getting priced for a pretty long speech.
The United States has the highest obesity and type 2 diabetes rate in the world. We spend 3 times more per capita than the European Union on healthcare, yet our life expectancy is 5 years lower, largely due to diet-related chronic disease. Our childhood obesity rate is 5 times higher than countries like France. 1/3 of U.S. teens have prediabetes, over 35% are overweight.
Hopefully these people keep talking really long, and then it'll make people scared and start to dump their yes shares.
Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
We could
77%
buy some cheap or
military
something.
Aged Americans are ineligible for military service because of diet-related conditions. If a foreign adversary sought to destroy the health of our children, to cripple our economy, to weaken our national security, there would be no better strategy than to addict us to ultra-processed foods. It's shocking that our own government helped to drive these cataclysmic changes in our diet. The damage is real, it is preventable, and President Trump has ordered it to end. If the United States reduced obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and Alzheimer's to Japanese levels, we would save approximately
Japanese levels,
$600
interesting.
billion a year.
Okay, I actually really like this push of preventative
Projected
health
long-term deficit
that Kennedy does. Say what you want about the guy
per family
and some of his
annually.
beliefs.
Current policy worsens the problem.
I do think
42
the U.S.
Americans
is
rely on SNAP
not focused
for
enough on
purchases
preventative
for
health,
sugar,
just like most
grains,
developed
candy,
countries.
and chips.
I just wish they
78%
went
of
about it in a
recipients
more
are enrolled in Medicaid,
normal way
and 90% of Medicaid spending
in
goes
terms of
to
like
chronic disease.
encouraging it.
These incentives raise healthcare costs and undermine health. This must change. A new framework centers on protein and healthy fats, vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. And you can see the food pyramid here.
Yeah, I want to see their food pyramid. Wow, they have whole grains as the smallest thing to
It's
eat? Are
upside
you
down,
serious?
A lot of you will say. But it was actually upside down before, and we just righted it.
They have like beef at the top
For the first
and
time,
chicken.
the dietary
Dang.
guidelines directly address ultra-processed foods and set firm sugar limits in federal procurement, driving a significant reduction in added sugar in school meals. I want to thank President Trump for his leadership.
Why do they have
and
milk so
partners
high in the
committed
food
to
pyramid
ensuring
though?
that federal food
Is
dollars,
milk really that
real
good for you?
food, and better health. Thank you. And I want to introduce my partner,
Here's Rollins.
friend Brooke Rollins, who is an extraordinary.
So now she's going to talk and eat into some time. They'll probably have Dr. Oz. I can't believe Dr. Oz is in the administration. Every time I see this stuff.
Honor to be here. I think this is Caroline's first press conference back, and what a great way to start the new year, 2026. I want to thank Secretary Kennedy.
Oh,
Your
Christmas
commitment
No has already
to the
gone crazy.
well-being of Americans is such
I'm
a
sorry,
blessing
Ivan.
to this nation.
I don't think it
We
was a
have been
good buy,
working
but
on these new dietary guidelines really
I believe.
since almost day one. Bobby and I were voted on the same day and sworn in on the same day. So I think the partnership from minute one has been real and extraordinary. As Secretary Kennedy mentioned, America is in the middle of the worst chronic health crisis in our nation's history. Over 40% of the roughly 73
You're saying she
million
said
children
Kennedy,
in the
but people
United
missed it?
States have at
Try to
least
find
one
it in the
chronic
recording.
health condition,
if you
and
can
nearly
find it, then just buy
90%
yes
of
shares.
healthcare spending goes
And
toward
don't tell
treating
anyone
people
until
with
after,
chronic disease.
and then share the video.
Secretary
That's
Kennedy
happened more
mentioned that,
times
but
than you
it's
think.
really important to keep underscoring that fact. This crisis is unacceptable.
You can rewind the live
It
stream.
prevents Americans from living healthy and happy lives. And for decades under both Republicans and Democrats, federal incentives have promoted low quality, highly processed foods and pharmaceutical interventions instead of prevention. As a result, nutrient-dense whole foods grown by America's farmers and ranchers have been increasingly
It is hyper relevant, Tyler, but
The
I'm
Trump
getting it at
administration
19 cents.
is
That's the
acutely
reason.
aware of this
And it's
danger.
because so many things are
Today,
hyper relevant.
This announcement is making a major step in doing something about it. Thankfully, the solution is simple and should be non-controversial. Eat real food. This is the main message of the new dietary guidelines for
Wait, Bip Bop, are you
Americans
saying this entire
2025 to
speech doesn't
2030,
count
which encourage
on Polly?
households
Because
and
they're saying
schools
this
to
was not
prioritize
scheduled
whole
again?
nutrient-dense foods. That means more protein, more dairy, more healthy fats, more whole grains, more fruits and vegetables, whether they are fresh, frozen, canned, or dried. We are finally putting real food back at the center of the American diet. Real food that nourishes the body, restores health, fuels energy, and builds strength. This pivot also leans into the abundant, affordable, and healthy food supply already available from America's incredible farmers and ranchers. By making milk, raising cattle, and growing wholesome fruits, vegetables, and grains, they hold the key to solving our national health crisis. And President Trump is mobilizing government
Wait,
to
for what
ensure
strike,
families
Hunter?
across America have
For
greater
Kennedy?
access to these healthy foods. In the past 12 months, inflation has slowed and wages have risen for the first time in 5 years. Under President Trump's leadership, prices for everyday staples are declining and more help is on the way. Recent data show that fruits,
That is
vegetables,
crazy.
dairy, and proteins,
I kind of feel
including
bad
eggs,
about that because
pork,
you know
and
it's
ground
just
beef,
like
are
retail
becoming
users getting
even more
rinsed
affordable
that
every
don't
day
understand the
for
rules.
our American people. American households enjoy the most affordable and abundant food in the world, and today's release only reinforces that reality. A healthy meal is within reach for all American families. These new dietary guidelines are a framework which is meant to be customized to meet the needs, the preferences, and the financial status of all American families. For example, a meal including such items as pork or eggs or whole milk or cheese, tomatoes, other fresh and frozen fruits and vegetables, whole
Oh,
grain
wait,
bread,
AP must be
corn
here,
tortilla
too.
can cost today right around $3 for that.
Yeah, I know, Hunter. That
$3.
stuff happens all the
And
time.
soon
I mean, it's
USDA will
smart what you're
finalize
doing.
our
I'm not saying you're doing
stocking
anything wrong. I do the
standards,
same
which
stuff.
means
I'm just
that
saying,
those businesses of
generally,
America
I always feel bad
take
whenever
the
that stuff
SNAP
happens.
benefit, what they are required
Required
today
to
right
stop.
around in order to take
Let me
that
see if
benefit.
AP's
By
maybe
the way, that's
faster.
almost 250,000 retailers across America.
'Cause someone's
that
beating me
very
by, like,
soon we
4
will be
seconds.
finalizing that rule that will mandate all 250,000 retailers in America double the type of staple foods that they provide for America's SNAP households. This means healthier options will be in reach for all American families, regardless of circumstance, at levels never seen before in our country. These
Oh,
dietary
okay, they're the
guidelines
same
are
speed.
foundational to so many USDA programs, and their introduction marks the first step in connecting America's schools and dinner plates to the best of American agriculture. Make no mistake, under President Trump's leadership, we are restoring common sense, we are restoring scientific integrity, and we are restoring accountability to
Really,
federal food
Bip-Bop? It
and
seems
health
to
policy.
mirror White House
The new
stream
guidelines are all
in
about
terms of
putting the
time
well-being
delay.
of Americans first, exactly where it should have been all along. This is the foundation that will make America healthy again, not just for those of us alive today, but for our children and our children's children and those coming behind. I want to end by saying God bless American families, God bless the American farmer and rancher, and God bless America.
God
What an
bless
honor now to introduce,
America.
another great partner in this incredible work, and that is Dr. Mehmet Oz. Thank you.
Congratulations, Secretary.
All right, is
Yellen,
anything
Chair
getting
Kennedy,
cheap?
And do want to express my appreciation for what the president has done overall to increase the affordability of healthcare. The biggest accomplishment, perhaps, for the health system, ability to drop down.
Doesn't
prices
really look
last
like
year
it.
was the
People are
most
too
favored
smart.
nation drug pricing that Caroline mentioned. These are incredibly effective at reducing the costs, for example, of what the president calls the fat shot, the Ozempic, GLP-1s category of medications. We dropped them dramatically. But the best way to reduce drug spend in America is to not need the drugs in the first place. The best way to what you're hearing today with these dietary guideline adjustments are going to be massively effective, and not just today with for us to buy these weight loss drugs, but buy
All right, let's
these
see.
expensive
I'll
drugs
test
for
the,
autoimmune problems. We have evidence that food is medicine
one on
when it comes
X.
to conditions as varied as mental health issues from Alzheimer's and depression to fundamental realities of how children learn in school. So the question then becomes, what is this actually going to do in dollars and cents? And I had the group at CMS run some numbers for us to try to give you concrete assessments of how much this will drop the spend that the federal taxpayer must make for Medicare and Medicaid. And I'm more optimistic today than ever that we can address the fast rising rate of healthcare expenses in America because of movement.
Oh, wow, it is a little faster.
Right now, we're increasing the rate of the GDP growth. We will correct that if we can get America to be healthier, because you can't be a wealthy nation without being a healthy nation. So 2 numbers for you to remember. The first is 30 billion. Why? 30% of healthcare costs are directly attributable to obesity. I'm not talking about indirect associated expenses, which are also present, but a very conservative number, 30%, are directly attributed to obesity. That's about $300 billion a year for just Medicare, If we were to affect obesity by 10%, which is
President,
a very conservative
79 plus, no.
and justifiable assumption that has been borne out in evidence-based dietary experiments and trials. Just that alone is $30 billion, a reduction of expenses for Medicaid, for Medicare rather. That's also obviously correlated with Medicaid reduction in spending. In Medicaid, it's a different opportunity. Because in Medicaid,
Biden,
we
yes, in the
educate children.
70s?
53% of children in America are coming
How?
from Medicaid or
Jeez.
CHIP. And we have programs to teach kids and their parents what to eat, and how to make these dietary guidelines that Secretary Rollins, Secretary Kennedy have crafted with their teams into practice. It will dramatically change the natural history of how children are able to participate in life. But let me give you one last number. If we're able to get the average American, who today retires on average at age 61, get them just to work 1 year longer, because they feel so vital, so strong, so bullish about their future, because they're
Wow.
feeding their bodies nutrients
Hopefully it
that are
continues to go down.
essential
I will definitely
to their
buy some cheap,
high-functioning productivity. We will increase the overall GDP of our nation by trillions of dollars. So we will reduce healthcare expenses. At the same time, we jazz up the U.S. economy with trillions of dollars created by the productivity of American workers. God bless you both for making the DGA feasible and making it perhaps the wisest investment we could make in our communities. Marty Makary is one of my closest friends, the powerful leader of the FDA, who's been taking brave steps along the line and has additional insight.
I like bullish.
Thank you, Dr. Oz. Today marks
Stuff's
the
still not
beginning
going
of the
cheap
end
enough,
of
though.
An era of medical dogma on nutrition.
Medical
For decades,
dogma.
We've been fed a corrupt food pyramid that has had a myopic focus on demonizing natural, healthy, saturated fats, telling you not to eat eggs and steak, and ignoring a giant blind spot. Refined carbohydrates, added sugars, ultra-processed food. This study in JAMA now shows that 60% to 70% of kids are getting their calories from ultra-processed foods. That's an epidemic. We now have a generation of kids addicted to refined carbohydrates, low in protein. They are literally nitrogen negative because we've used old flawed studies that used urine nitrogen to estimate body protein metabolism, and they missed the mark. The old guidelines had such a low protein recommendation that we are increasing that by 50 to 100%. Kids need protein. The old protein guidelines were to prevent starvation and withering away. These new protein guidelines are designed for American kids to thrive, and they're based on science, not on dogma. We have 40% of our kids now with a chronic disease. It is not their fault.
It is
This is
not
something
their
that is
fault.
the result of bad advice from the government and a medical establishment that for decades peddled research.
So
from
what
a
we did,
flawed
it was bad advice from the
1960s
government. We
model.
took the food pyramid
Today
and
are
we
setting
turned
the
it
record
upside
straight.
down.
This is not a willpower problem of our nation's kids. This is something adults have done to kids, and we're going to fix it. And so, as Dr. Oz said, the best way to lower drug prices is for people to stop taking drugs they don't need. We are going to finally address the root causes of our broken healthcare system: insulin resistance and general body inflammation, advanced by the protein-poor, micronutrient-poor, ultra-processed, refined carbohydrate diet that kids are addicted to today. And so, on behalf of the Food and Drug Administration, we are proud to be a part of this. We are grateful to be contributing to this work. Thank you, Secretary Rollins. Thank you, Kyle Diamantis, the best deputy commissioner for food at the FDA the agency has ever had. This is a historic day in America. Thank you, Caroline.
Doctor, thank you so much. Thank you. I hope
All right,
everyone's
Carol's
inspired
back.
to go eat a salad for lunch after this briefing. If anybody has questions on this topic, we will take a few and then we'll get into the topic. We'll start with our new media seat. If you have a question on this topic today,
New media
Franklin, who
seat.
comes from the Conservatoire.
Jamie
Why don't you
Franklin.
kick us off?
Yeah, first of all, Caroline, congratulations on your pregnancy. We're so excited for
Oh.
you. Matt have moms across the country, including myself,
Oh my
who are
gosh.
just so excited by what this administration is doing to make our kids healthy again. But you know, we do have concerns when
I feel
it
like
comes
this
to
could
the
be
blue
baby.
states pushing back on a lot of progress that we're making as an administration. And particularly, we're really excited that you guys revised and
Let's
streamlined
hit
the
baby.
vaccine schedule. However, what we have seen is that
This is-
blue states,
This is
whether
a bad
it's
buy,
no tax on
but
tips,
it
no
just is
tax on
purely
overtime, or
vibes
pushing back
based on
immigration, they continue to
a Maha
stop
Mom
your guys'
question. I
progress.
was
So
like,
what has
maybe
been
there's
the
a world,
response from
but
these
it's
blue
definitely
states
not
as
worth it at
Matt
25.
enrolling our kids in school? This is a big issue, and we celebrate what you guys are doing, but we want to have it, you know, even in the blue states as well.
Oh no,
I
it's to
know
Kennedy.
these
I'm such an
I know
idiot.
these things earlier, 2 days earlier. I'm sorry.
It's to Kennedy. This isn't good.
Also high in protein.
That's an interesting.
But people are reacting. I think people
They
are.
only released
I don't know, guys. I would get. I would not buy this. This was a bad buy.
The vaccine schedule, there's nothing.
See if I can get out of it.
Everybody, I've always promised, I'm not going to take people's vaccines away from them. People who want to get
Oh, wait,
vaccines,
18?
everybody who wants them can get all of the vaccines that were on the old schedule. They will all be paid for by the Vaccines for Children program.
This was
or from the insurance,
ill-advised.
The same as before. We release guidelines that we
Am I
think
top
are
bid at least?
optimal to public health. They're the same core vaccines that are required by the
I'm not
European
top
community.
bid.
And those nations all have much better health outcomes than we do. And they're based on their best science.
Get
and
me out of
also
this.
on their conviction
Get me out of
that
this.
when you put too many vaccines on the program, it actually reduces compliance. It reduces
Let's
uptake.
see.
And so we want to maximize the uptake of vaccines by making sure that Americans know we are making recommendations that are science-based, that are common sense, that are grounded in science. And right now, that's the best science that we have. And
Of course,
there's
it
3
went.
categories of vaccines.
Like,
One
if
is
the way
blue
she
schedule,
said it
which
seemed like she
resembles
so wanted
European countries.
her to answer it.
The second is for people who
You'll get me out of this,
have
Bip Bop? You mean
affordability
when she says it, you're
risk.
just gonna
And that
get
doesn't
first
change at
click?
all. And then the third is shared decision making, which any vaccine that was on the old schedule you can continue to get. So people will make their own choices, and that's what democracy is about.
I know, yeah. The fact you're
asked
saying
Boss
congrats, I
Caroline
was
for
like,
permission
because
to add
if
a
you guys
little
don't know,
bit to this,
Caroline
because I
is
think
pregnant.
It's really important. And by the way, Jamie, what a superstar you are. It's so fun to see you in this seat, Jamie Franklin. The blue state question is a really important one. And for those of us that are running agencies with
shoot.
these programs, I mean, I've talked to a lot of you already about how we have 22 blue states that won't give us their SNAP data so that we can figure out and ensure that those who really need these programs are actually getting these programs. Clearly, you all have been writing about Minnesota. California's next. We're looking at New York, some other states. The amount of fraud in all of these programs is absolutely stunning.
We cut it to
And the
just
challenge
$30
is,
if
I
she
mean,
doesn't
for
even say it.
Medicaid, et cetera. I know, Dr. Oz, you've talked a lot about that. This is a significant problem, and I think who's really harmed in all of this.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on this?
conversation
In a
when these blue
situation here,
states
wouldn't you have been
aren't
better off paying fees and
partnering
dumping
with
into
us
the open
to
at
try to do
24
this
versus
right,
selling as a
is
maker
we
at
say
20?
blue states and red states, but in
Yes,
those states, there
I definitely
are
would have.
all kinds of our citizenry and that aren't all Democrat or aren't all Republican. We had a poll that just came out that had about 85% of all Americans believe that states should turn their data
But look,
over
it is
on
what it
SNAP
is.
so that we can figure out where the fraud is and ensure these programs are going where they need to go. So my request of these blue states and these blue state governors is partner with us. Let us figure out how to do
Ivan, I
this
think this
better.
at
Let us
least
make
goes to
sure
1202.
that whether it's the vaccine
mean,
schedule or the SNAP program or the Medicaid program or
I
the
think this
child
can
care
definitely be
program,
too long.
that we're doing
Caro hasn't
everything
even
we
talked
can
much.
to
You got to realize
protect every
Caro's
tax
going to take
dollar,
questions.
but to also ensure those who need it the most vulnerable in our society, are getting the
Let me change
programs
this
they
to
need
79.
versus those who A, are not even supposed to be here, or B, are cheating the system.
No, you were right, Tonka.
One of the changes that was made had to do with alcohol. Secretary Kennedy or Dr. Oz, could you explain the science behind the new language on not saying 2 drinks for men and 1 drink for a woman every day would be healthy, and whether or not the industry had an impact on the language of moderation versus just saying alcohol is not healthy and you shouldn't drink it?
So alcohol is a social lubricant that brings people together.
It's
In the
a
best case
good
scenario,
old social
I don't think we should drink
lubricant.
alcohol. but it does allow people an excuse to bond and socialize, and there's probably nothing healthier than having a good time with friends in a safe way. If you look at the blue zones, for example, around the world where people live the longest, alcohol is sometimes part of their diet. Again, it's small amounts, taken very judiciously, and usually in a celebratory fashion. So there is alcohol on these dietary guidelines, but the implication is don't have it for breakfast. Right? This should be
Don't have it
something
for
done
breakfast?
Small amount with hopefully some kind of an event that might have alcohol added.
Look at that.
But the
Only
general move away
$22
from 2
there.
glasses of men, 1 glass of women. There was never
Only
really good data
$15
to
there.
support that quantity of alcohol consumption.
We had a free
That data was
option
probably
of her to
primarily
say it, and then
confused with broader data
we could
about
see
social
she pivoted away from it. We only lose 15 bucks.
Thanks a
We'll
lot,
take
Caroline.
it.
Secretary Rollins, I'm curious about with these guidelines.
I know,
they're not
seriously.
mandates, they're guidelines.
Hey, I've only had one drink this week, by the way, and it was when I hit 100K to celebrate.
All across
So,
the country.
since
Well, today
the New
begins
Year's,
the
I've only had
financial
one
assistance
drink.
season. Today
As someone who
begins the
used to
first
drink
day
every single
now
day
in a
and have like
recalibration
probably 3
of
drinks a
the
day at
rules,
least.
Whether it's school lunches, whether it's the SNAP program.
We had to lock
whether
in
it's
on
the
trading, you
veterans
know?
were mentioned, our
But I
prison
won't lie, it
system,
was nice
that
having a
now
few
we
drinks
begin the
every day when
process
you're
of
trading and you're like
implementing and
very
redrafting
stressed
the
having
rules to
thousands of
reflect
dollars on the
what
line.
this new dietary
But I'm
guidelines
like,
for Americans
this is not a healthy
actually
way to
is
live.
doing to our food system.
Having
So
a ton
there
of
is a
stress
lot
because
of
you're
work to do.
you have thousands on the
Nothing
line
changes
and then
overnight.
alleviating the stress
But
by
as I
drinking.
think we've proven this
not getting a lot of
administration
sleep.
moves very, very quickly on all fronts, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And so you'll begin
Wow,
to see,
this
some
market's
real
reacting
changes
pretty
coming
sharp.
soon.
Like the fact these
As
prices aren't decreasing,
everyone is
because
aware,
this first
for
batch of
many of our
Q&A is
most vulnerable
specific
and
related to
margins,
Maha.
in our
She's not
communities,
taking
the
any
school
like
lunch
other
is
questions.
often the best
So I'm just
place for
surprised
our
that like
children to get the
Greenland, for
healthiest
example, is
meal.
being inelastic.
Hopefully with stocking standards and reworking SNAP and the SNAP waivers we've done,
If
that
that's the
begins to
right word.
change too. But right now, that is going to be the single most important, from my perspective, move forward is the school lunches and making sure that we're getting the right amount, the best amount, and most nutrient-dense foods into the schools. Thank you.
You also mentioned Secretary Rollins' cost when you had your remarks a little bit earlier. Is eating healthier more cost effective? Is it cheaper than just having a diet of processed foods?
I had a whole chart to show you, but left it in the
Well,
back,
what, we're
unfortunately.
now like
That
32
yes,
32
indeed,
minutes in?
that eating healthy, for the most part, we've got 100 simulations.
Yeah,
is
that's what I'm
actually less
saying, 8.
expensive.
And I'm just saying I'm
The
surprised that
challenge
the
comes
market
is
is
the
being that
access
efficient to
those
where it
healthy
knows.
foods, especially in parts
Why
of America
Greenland know
where
for
they
the-
have food deserts. They don't have a HEB or a Kroger or a Central Market.
I
or a
know,
Texan
I know a
grocery
reporter's
stores,
gonna
but
ask about
whatever
it.
similar,
But
similar
is there a
across the country.
chance she
But
weaves
that
it
is why
and I'm
these
at
stocking
19 cents?
standards
I think there's
SNAP
value.
are so
Yes.
important. So if you have
There's so
a,
many things for reporters to ask about. Of course they're gonna ask about Greenland, but there's
challenged family,
you
and the
know
only place they're getting their food is the 7-Eleven.
she
We have a longer term.
Let me go back to
important
the start of
policy
the year.
priority, and that is getting grocery stores into these lower margin communities. But for now, requiring those retailers, those 250,000 retailers across America, to double their stocking of
When
healthy
all this
foods,
stuff was
that will allow
happening-
us to immediately get the
Yeah,
healthy foods
E-Dream,
into
it
into-
won't
into
count.
all communities, but especially the most vulnerable.
the rules they have for these Caro speeches are like I don't know.
Brooke and I are working
Biden
on
fair value?
affordability
95 maybe? I mean
with
right now
President.
probably
We know we have to make it easy and accessible.
wow, it is going lower and lower.
Healthy foods.
Holy, people are trying to buy Biden no at 25?
Think affordable food.
Yeah, surely above
for
70.
every American family.
But the fact
We're
that
working on a education.
yeah, I'm going to keep
and,
monitoring this if it keeps going lower.
uh,
I will
information
if I die on Biden, yes, that's a
will
good way to
allow
go out, you
American
know.
Families all over the country to come onto our website and find the healthiest foods at the lowest cost for themselves. I'd also just add this: the idea that a cheap meal made of processed food is cheap is an illusion, because you're paying for it on the back end. You're paying for it with diabetes, with obesity, with illness.
Yeah, in the last 20, Jack.
And if you internalize that cost of the meal,
I was talking about that before this
it's a
started.
fraction of the long-term cost of eating bad food.
We'll take one more in the white blazer.
Caroline. Secretary of
Yeah, I am
you
eyeing
mentioned
this 600
healthy
shares at
fats,
76.
also
This looks
ending
so
war
juicy.
on saturated fats. Can you clarify how much saturated fats Americans should be consuming?
I'm gonna let Marty take that since he wrote a book about it.
Look, the old dogma in the 1960s when Eisenhower had his heart attack and Ansel Keys said it was the saturated fat.
Oh, somebody
That's
already hit
never been
it.
substantiated. And so that flawed research has become dogma over the years, and eventually the conversation
Damn
was
it. I was
sidelined.
literally about to hit him.
In this new guidance, we are telling young people, kids, schools, you don't need to tiptoe around fat and
Let's see,
dairy. You
maybe
don't
someone
need
will
to
put 'em back
push
up.
low-fat milk to kids. And we are maintaining the 10% of
I do
calories
use a
as
tool
saturated
chiller.
fat
It costs a
in
lot
our
of money,
guidance.
so unless
The
you're like
real
trading
issue
with a
is
lot of money,
protein. The fact
I would
that
use.
60
There's
to
like cheaper
70%
tools
of
out
the
there, like
calories
Mention
in kids
Metrics,
today
I
in
think it's
America
called.
is
I've never
ultra-processed
used
food.
Mention Metrics, but I think it's
These
pretty
are the
cheap and
issues
available
that
to
have
the
become
public.
Giant blind spots where we're now putting attention, and we hope that there are conversations.
The one I
in
use is
every
$200
school
a
board in
month,
America,
so
in
I
every
just don't think for
church
most
and
people it's gonna
synagogue
make
and
sense.
house of worship, every home in America will now have conversations. We've got to talk about school lunch programs, not just putting 6-year-olds on Ozempic. Food can be
Putting
curative.
6-year-olds on
We've got to talk
Ozempic?
about the microbiome, the
What is
fiber,
this guy
the
talking about?
whole grains and the good soil that food comes from, and the healthy, clean waters and good farming techniques. So that's the focus of this guidance. Thank you.
Some of you may be wondering why Dr. Carson is here. He is our National Nutrition Advisor.
Let's
working
go,
alongside
Ben
Secretary
Carson.
Kennedy, and he's played a big role in this effort.
National Nutrition
Thank you so much,
Advisor.
Dr. Carson, for being here today. And thank all of you for being here today. I know you're all very busy people, and these people have a lot of questions on things
All right, what do
that
we think the
I
first
haven't
question's
before,
gonna be?
so
I feel like it's
I'm
gonna be
get
on
to work.
Venezuela.
Thank you guys
Do you
so
think it's
much
gonna be
for
on
coming.
Greenland? I think Venezuelan first. Let's see.
Thanks. Alrighty.
I'm gonna turn her up.
Great. Does anyone have any questions? Rachel, why don't you start?
Thank you, Caroline. The president has been adamant that he is now in charge of Venezuela, but Delcy
Here we go.
Rodriguez says the
Venezuela's the
government of
first one.
Venezuela runs her country, no one else, saying, quote, there's no external agent governing Venezuela. So which one is it?
Let me just
Venezuela,
be very
there
clear.
it is.
This is the first time that I've addressed Venezuela from the
Wow,
podium
somebody
since
has me
being
by, like,
back
2
and
seconds.
Since the historic and incredibly successful military operation,
Historic.
law enforcement operation, conducted
Let's just
by our
stick on
United States
Venezuela this
military
whole
that you
speech,
all
all right?
saw, and the world
No
witnessed
reason to talk
last week.
about
the skill, the
the
might
stock
of the
market
United
or
States military and our country under
Nick
the leadership
Shirley
of this
or
president is on full
Greenland.
display to the rest of the world. And let's just set the record straight. There isn't another military in the world who could have pulled off this operation.
See, how has
There
Biden
is
already
not
corrected
another
to
president
81?
in the world or in our nation's history who had the courage to
Oh, she's gonna say
authorize
Biden right
such
here.
a mission. And I think the world has taken notice that America is truly back.
Don't
With
say
respect to
Biden.
Venezuela,
Keep getting Biden
the
cheap,
Trump
and then I'll pick it up in like the
administration, led by
50s.
Secretary Rubio, the vice president, and the president's entire national security team.
I
is in
know,
close
Tonka, I'm
correspondence
terrible.
with
How did I not
authorities
hit that
in
1K
Venezuela.
bid at
We
76?
obviously have maximum leverage over the interim authorities in Venezuela right now.
Let's
and
just
the
stick to
president has made
Venezuela,
it
no
very clear
Greenland.
that this is a country within the United States, the Western Hemisphere, close by the United States, that is no longer going to be sending illegal drugs to the United States of America. It's no longer going to be sending and trafficking illegal people and criminal cartels to kill American citizens.
Illegal
as they
people?
have
She
in the
doesn't say
past.
illegal
And
aliens?
the president
Interesting.
is fully deploying his peace through strength foreign policy agenda. So we're continuing to be in close coordination with the interim authorities.
She's gonna save you, Jack.
And their decisions are going to continue to be dictated by the United States of America.
Just one follow-up when you talk about that leverage there. Has the Venezuelan government fully committed to turning over its oil to the United States indefinitely, and what happens if they do not?
Well, as you saw, the president announced last night, this was a deal. This
Here
was a
comes
deal
oil.
made by the president and his team with the Venezuelan interim authorities. This will benefit both the American people and the Venezuelan people. And Secretary Wright and the Department of Energy are working with the
just hit.
interim authorities and also with the private
If
oil
she dodged
industry
oil
to
there, I would've picked
execute,
some up.
on this historic energy deal. That's not only good for the United States, but it's also going to revive the prosperity, the safety, the security of both the United States and Venezuela as well. Ed.
Following up on the oil part of this, the 30 to 50 million barrels of oil, how exactly is that going to work? You're getting it out of Venezuela into the United States?
Let's
Yes.
stick on Greenland.
That's
Keep
exactly
it up.
right.
Or I
So
mean,
as you
stick
know,
on
Ed, as the
Venezuela. Keep
president
it up,
announced last
reporters.
night,
Keep
this
it up.
was the sanctioned oil that was basically just sitting in barrels, sitting on ships because of the effective
Oh, no
quarantine of the
sanction
United
strike.
States of America.
Interesting.
And the interim authorities have agreed to release that oil to the United States, so it will be arriving here at home very soon. The United States government has already begun marketing
could be
Venezuelan crude oil
trillion.
in the global marketplace for the benefit of the United States, engage the world's leading commodity marketers, key
Could she
banks
say
to execute
trillion
and
as it
provide
relates to
financial
oil, you think?
support for these crude oil and crude product sales. All proceeds from the sale of Venezuelan crude oil and products will first settle in U.S.-controlled accounts at globally recognized banks to guarantee the legitimacy and integrity of the ultimate distribution of proceeds, and those funds will be
Biden's still
dispersed
80-20. It's
for the
so
benefit
funny
of
how
the American
resilient
people
that
and
strike
the
is.
Venezuelan people at the discretion of the United States government.
It sounds like it requires a lot of private sector engagement and agreement
And
from
there's
the oil
a-
industry and the banking industry.
That's
Do you
right.
have that yet?
There's a lot of private sector engagement that's happening right now. As you know, Secretary
go
Wright,
private
our
sector.
energy secretary, who's heading up this big project, is in
How to
Florida
make $1
today
trillion
meeting with some of these oil
overnight,
executives.
kidnap a
And
foreign
as we confirmed earlier,
foreign
they will
country's
also be at the
president
White House
and
later
take
this
their
week. So
oil.
they are absolutely
The
eager
USA
to
is
invest.
back.
They're eager about these opportunities, and Secretary Wright is a very well knowledgeable guy. when it
Every
comes
time,
to
Jack,
oil
I
and
think
energy,
stupid
and he's
question
the
is
perfect man
doable.
for the
It just
job.
never
Order
works.
the world
I thought it was
record.
gonna
Go
work
ahead.
on the
Go ahead.
Maduro
So just
day,
to follow up on the oil.
or not Maduro, but
30 to 50 million
the
barrels
Epstein
is an initial
day.
tranche, if you will, and then what
Oh,
happens
I
after
love
that?
this. Keep focusing on Venezuela. Don't
I
talk
won't
about
get ahead
Greenland.
of the
Greenland
plans
is
that
so.
the president and his team are currently speaking
Oh,
with the Indian
maybe
authorities
Greenland's just a
about,
terrible
but
buy.
Rest assured, there is a long
It must have been a terrible buy. People are so
Rubio and the
defensive
entire
on
team are working
Greenland now.
diligently on it,
So
and this is just sort of the first
makes me think
action
this
that
was
you all are
stupid. It
seeing.
probably was stupid.
Ed.
So in order to get these oil companies to invest billions in Venezuela, how will the U.S. reassure that their workers will be safe in Venezuela? Could there be troops involved?
At this point in time, as you know, there are no troops on the ground in Venezuela. The president, of course, reserves the right to use the United States military if necessary. It's not something he wants to do. Diplomacy is always the first option. As you saw, he tried that with Nicolas Maduro, but unfortunately, he was an illegitimate dictator and an unserious person. And so President Trump authorized this law enforcement operation, and now Nicolas Maduro is sitting in a prison cell in New York. So
Oh, Maduro
certainly the
mentioned.
president
New
is
York
doing what's in the
mentioned.
best
Man, you
interest
guys were
of the
like what you were
American
saying on New
people, and that
York.
includes
Oh,
members
I
from
should
our
have gone to New York.
energy
Yes, but it was in the
industry.
70s. But that was such a good angle. Whoever
What's the
said
message
that.
the president is going to give to the oil executives, and what does he want to hear?
Well, the meeting is.
But
on
it was in the
Friday, and
70s,
it's
so-
just a meeting to discuss, obviously, the immense opportunity that is before these oil companies right now. Stephen.
Caroline, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
The New Yorker had a story yesterday on the vice president, and it questioned his, quote, notable absence on Venezuela. And the subheadline
Stick
asked,
to
"Was the vice
Venezuela. I
president's
love this.
exclusion from
Keep
Operation
staying on
an
Venezuela."
expression of his anti-interventionist ideology or political calculation?" Would you be able to discuss the vice president's role in Venezuela policy?
I did see that report in the New Yorker, and quite frankly, I laughed out loud because it's very clear it's a fake report that's trying to sow distrust and division amongst the president and his team. Let me just be very clear. The vice president has been involved in all policy. He is the right-hand man of the president on all policy matters.
He's the right-hand
including
man.
Venezuela policy.
Everybody
He was,
knows
of
it's
course,
really
read
Rubio.
in and deeply involved in this operation from the very beginning.
I know, Jack, but it's
And
making
he
me
was
doubt
present,
myself because
on
I'm
the
like.
night of the operation via secure communication at
Yeah,
a different location.
I don't know. I'm
as
like.
to not,
The only
damage
way would
the
be that
operational
inelastic is if there's
secrecy
like
of
some
this mission
sharp
that
that's
was
just
so
hammering
incredibly
yeses, you know?
important to ensure that this mission could be carried out
Wow,
successfully
Biden
without
getting down
endangering
to
our
the
troops.
60s.
Sure.
The U.S. seized a tanker recently.
All right,
Russia
let's see if I can get a
specifically asked the United States not to
Bill,
seize that tanker.
57. If somebody
does
just like
this action
Moggs knows.
risk a larger conflict with Russia?
I believe you're referring to the Bella 1 tanker that was seized this morning.
Change
The
this to
Department of
500,
Justice and the Department of
cancel
Homeland
this.
Security, in
Oh,
coordination
shit.
with the Department of War, did announce that seizure this morning for violations of U.S. sanctions. I've spoken about the enforcement
Dang,
of our
sanction used to be a
sanctions
strike.
policy at the podium prior to the new year. And this administration is going to fully enforce
No, look,
the
if
sanction
someone
policy of
like
the United States.
Moggs a
The
ton of
vessel this
knows,
morning
I
was
can get
seized
it.
in the North Atlantic pursuant to a warrant issued by a
At
U.S. federal
57,
court
that would be
after being
legendary.
tracked. And this was a Venezuelan
I would
shadow
still buy
fleet
Biden,
vessel
yes,
that
at
has
57
transported
after her
sanctioned
speech
oil, and
ends,
the
after
United
she's
States of
done.
America
You know, it's just
under
like,
this
I
president
can't
is not
believe
going to
that it
tolerate
won't
that.
come up
I would
somehow.
also just add the
But
vessel
obviously
had
it's
a
happened
judicial
before.
seizure order,
It just would be
and
very
the crew,
unlikely.
so that means the crew is now subject to prosecution for any applicable violation of federal law, and they will be brought to the United States for such prosecution if necessary. Kelly.
Caroline, Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. You
I'd
too.
like to talk to you about a couple of things real quickly. The first question about the Venezuelan people.
Oh,
As
nice.
you know, there's some 8 million Venezuelans here, some of them celebrating in the streets. There are Venezuelans on the ground.
Stick
who are
to
concerned about
Venezuela.
their safety.
Keep it up.
What
Let's
does the
go.
Trump
I love these
administration,
reporters today.
what
They're
is
just
it
eating into
doing
so much
to
time on Venezuela.
Actually help people in Venezuela understand that they will be secure throughout this transition.
I think the fact that this president actually follows
this second
through
question
on the
gonna be
long-held
Greenland, though?
promise of the
It's
United
gonna be
States
Greenland.
of America. The bipartisan
I've already accepted
promise
it's gonna come
to
up.
take down
I'll
the
take the L.
illegitimate Maduro regime should give assurance to the Venezuelan people and also Venezuelan Americans who fled this communist regime for a better life here at home, that this is a president who is serious about taking down illegitimate regimes and who is also serious about securing the security of the United States of America, including the Venezuelan American people. And I would just add that this is something that not just Republicans and President Trump have talked about for a very long time, but it is also something that Democrats have advocated
Oh, no, it's
for
just
in
Biden.
2020.
Am I gonna
Chuck
lose?
Schumer said that
not get my fills?
that at the time President
Oh,
Trump had
shoot,
not
this is
brought an
gonna be
end to the
Biden.
Maduro regime. The Maduro
No,
regime
let me get my
is more
fills.
powerful today and more entrenched today than it was when the president began. Now you hear Chuck Schumer
I know,
out there saying
Tonka,
this
that's
is
what I'm saying.
reckless. The American people and the Venezuelan people should be in fear. But this is something that Chuck Schumer has long advocated for.
Wow, Chuck
Senator
Schumer mentioned
Kristen Holland,
before
same
Biden?
thing,
What
that said
is
that the United
today?
States is going
She
to
said
use its
illegal
leverage and
people
influence
instead
to
of
push
illegal
for
aliens
negotiations
today?
To transition to the truly elected leader. This was under President Biden. We
Oh,
know
there it
Maduro
is.
and his cronies don't wanna
No,
go
I
quiet
couldn't
into
get
the
my
night.
shares.
The US
Why
needs
did
to
I
work
hit that
to
at
ratchet up the
66? That was
pressure.
so
Now,
free.
Senator Holland
That
said
was
it's
so
illegal act of
free. I'm
force,
so
to
stupid.
get rid of
I can't believe I didn't buy that at 75. I'm a trash trader. I'm terrible. I'm terrible. There was 1K at 76 that I didn't hit.
I mean, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm so stupid.
Yes.
There are reports that the administration is demanding that Venezuela cut ties with
Oh my-
China, Russia, Iran.
Another Venezuela question. Keep
I'm
up
sorry?
these Venezuela
Reports
questions.
that the administration
Greenland yes holders are
essentially
starting to
demanded that
freak
Venezuela
out.
Cut ties with China, Russia, Iran, and Cuba. Can you confirm that?
Well, those alleged demands were made in a classified briefing by Secretary Rubio, and I know that there's a lot of leaks coming out of these classified briefings, so I'm not going to confirm or deny or get into what the Secretary has said in classified settings to members of Congress. But I think that the administration has made it quite clear to the interim authorities in Venezuela that this is the Western Hemisphere, and American dominance is going to continue under this president.
Ask, there have also been reports
No,
that
this-
the U.S. could potentially buy Greenland. As
No!
one
Here it is.
potential
Here it is.
option
I'm
on the
dead.
table. What would
I'm dead.
such an
Can she
offer
dodge?
look like?
Can she
Is there
dodge?
anything
Can she dodge?
monetarily you could provide
Dodge
to
it. Dodge it.
Well, that's something that's currently being actively discussed by the president and his national security team. And I would point out that the acquisition of Greenland by the
No!
United States is not a new idea. This is something
I
that
knew it
presidents
was
dating back to
dead.
the 1800s have said is advantageous for
no
America's national
dodge.
security. The president has been very
There was
open
an
and clear
angle,
with all
even with how
through
she
with the
asked it,
world
that she could
he'd
dodge.
use it in the best
Because she was
interest
like,
of
how
the
would you
United States
structure it?
to
She could have been
deter
like,
Russian and Chinese aggression.
she could have been
in the
like,
Arctic
we're
region.
structuring the deal as
So that's why
XYZ.
this team is currently talking about what a potential purchase would look like.
Dang, she had so many ways to dodge it. Yeah, I know.
Why not rule
I know.
out taking it by military force?
I know that past presidents and past leaders
Is she gonna
have
fully
often
dodge the whole Tim
ruled
Walz
things
Somalia
out.
thing
They've
though? That'd be
often,
interesting.
Been very open about ruling things in and basically broadcasting their foreign policy strategy to the rest of the world, not just to our allies, but most egregiously to our adversaries. That's not something this president does. All options are always on the table for President Trump as he examines what's in the best interests of the United States. But I will just say that the president's first option always has been diplomacy. Again, look at Venezuela. He tried ardently to strike a good deal with Nicolas Maduro, and he told him, I will use the United States military and you will not like it if you don't take
Wow, are we
such a
not
deal."
gonna see
Look at what happened.
Tim
With
Walz
respect
questions?
To Iran, the president said the same thing. Right? He
Iran?
tried to,
Wow.
tried to have
That's
serious
out of
interest
left field.
in a deal with the Iranian regime with respect to their nuclear capabilities.
Nuclear,
They were not
okay, yeah.
interested,
But nuclear
so
wasn't even a
Operation
strike,
Midnight
right?
Hammer happened, which was another remarkable military success under the leadership of this commander-in-chief. So the president keeps his options open, but diplomacy is always the first.
Quickly, just one additional follow-up on that. Does the president recognize Denmark's ownership as part of the kingdom? Because there have been some Republican senators questioning
the claim that Denmark has to Greenland. Is the president in that camp with them, questioning the legality of
I have not heard him question it personally, but you're welcome to ask him yourself next time you have the chance.
See, she just dodged mentioning
And
Greenland to a
it's
Greenland
lifted
question.
Venezuela. We got to lift some sanctions to let the oil come in. Can you talk about that just very briefly?
Yes, so the U.S. is selectively rolling back sanctions to enable the transport and the sale of Venezuelan crude and oil products to the global markets, yes. Annie.
Thank you. There are some reports from Venezuela that the country's leaders are cracking down on the population, specifically suppressing public expression of support for Maduro's ouster. Is that kind of behavior consistent with what the president wants to see, how the president wants to see the leaders take on the population?
It would not be consistent, and I'll let the president's national security team speak further on
Yeah,
that.
I
know
agree,
they are
Tonka.
well aware and tracking. Kelly.
Two questions. One, on the seized vessels, the Bella, the Sophia, can you tell us where they're headed, what happens to any existing cargo? And
Yeah,
American
for sure.
Personnel potentially facing prosecution. That's one thing I'd like to
Yes.
follow on. And then
On the Bella.
On the yes, okay. And on Annie's question, if I could also ask, does the administration believe that the interim
I should have hit
regime
1K stock
should
market at
release
67. That
all
was such a
political
good buy.
dissidents and prisoners
I don't know why I
and
didn't. Should have
return
sized up.
detained Americans?
That's not a question that I've personally spoken about to the president with, so I will let him answer that question. I don't want to make new policy at this podium today with respect to Venezuela. With respect to the two ships that you mentioned, I
Still
spoke with
no
you about
fraud,
the Bella
Tim
one.
Walls
There was
stuff.
another
I had a limit
this
buy for Tim
morning,
Walls at
the
26. I'm so
Sophia,
sad.
in
I went
coordination
live
the
with it, and then
Department
of
of War,
course,
Department of
you know,
Homeland
it jumped
Security,
up. I
Albert
would have had
India.
500 shares.
This
I
is
did,
a stateless, sanctioned
Gosh.
dark fleet motor tanker.
Hopefully
and
they
this
say
occurred
Tim
without
Walls.
incident.
Otherwise,
This vessel was operating in international waters and conducting illicit activities in the Caribbean Sea.
I know.
US
Not
Coast
buying
Guard
Biden,
is
but also not
exporting
sizing up
the
into
Sophia
stock
to the
market.
United
No,
States
there was
for
1K
final
at 66 before the
disposition. To
speech,
answer your
which
question,
is
Kelly,
insane.
directly. This
She could
was
still
through
say stock
Operation
market. Don't get me
Southern
wrong,
Sphere.
but like it
The
should
Department
not
of
have
War
ever
is
been
unwavering in its
at
mission to crush
35%.
illicit
That was
activity
insane.
in the Western Hemisphere. And as the president has repeatedly stated, we're going to defend our homeland and restore security and strength across the Americas. Dasha. Dasha, go.
Caroline, thank you and Happy New Year.
Thanks, you too.
Two questions, one on Venezuela, one on Greenland. You've repeatedly at the podium called the current leadership in Venezuela interim leadership.
Very
There are
interesting. No
Republican
questions on
Democrats
Minnesota,
alike that say
man.
they wanna see
Just goes to
elections
show,
in
like,
Venezuela.
these
The president
reporters
has
don't
said
really
it's
care.
too soon
They're
to
just
do
so
that
focused
right
on
now,
Venezuela.
but is there a timeline for
Wow.
elections in Venezuela? Is he committed to seeing
What a
that this
dodge.
year, for example?
You just said the president has answered that question, so I will reiterate what the president has said a few times now to all of you, which is that it's too premature and too early to dictate a timetable for elections in Venezuela right now.
Caroline, you just talked to Jackie about diplomacy first, right? The Danes have repeatedly said they are willing to collaborate on all of the concerns that the president has, whether it's more troops, mineral rights, intelligence sharing. Why does the president feel he needs to own Greenland and not and put out the threat of military action when this could be done through diplomacy?
Well, who said diplomacy isn't taking place behind the scenes, Dasha? I mean, the president is interested in diplomacy. His national security team is as well.
This is a
And of course,
diplomatic
he's always
president.
willing to
Come
pick up
on,
the phone to
Dasha.
everybody and hear out their concerns.
What do you think? This
But the
president's just going to
president
go
is the
capture a
president of the
foreign
United
leader
States of America,
overnight
and he's
with
always going to be
no
very clear,
congressional or
about what
anything
he
approval?
views as being in our
We're
nation's best
diplomatic here. We're diplomatic.
Caroline, I have a question for you on Venezuela, and then I'd love to ask you about Minnesota and Tim Walz.
Sure.
Oh,
on Venezuela,
here
I'm
comes
wondering, does
Tim
the
Walz.
administration hope to start sending more Venezuelan migrants
Oh, I
back
missed the
home,
I
or
missed
have
the
them
catch though.
self-deport if the situation in the country improves?
Oh, it already jumped.
As
See, I
far
missed
as
it.
I'm
Wow, it
concerned,
jumped way too
the
high though,
policies of
to
the Trump
85.
administration and the Department of Homeland
This is
Security
bullish
have
on
not changed.
fraud
All
too.
those illegally present
Oh,
in the
how
country
did I
are
not get that
subject to
69 click?
deportation.
Ah.
And I would just like to add, how we got here. The president was very clear on the campaign to the American public, and it's one of the many reasons
Surely
they
jumping up
resoundingly
to-
reelected him back to this office.
Shoot, I
that
should
he
have
was not
clicked
only
on
going
that.
to crush foreign
God.
drug cartels, but
Terrible.
that he was not going to stand by and watch as the illegitimate Venezuelan
Wow,
regime
though.
was sending
Walls
illegal
bonded at
criminals
90.
and
I gotta
gang,
be ready to click this,
gang
man.
members and rapists and murderers to our
Holy
country,
cow.
which happened to the tune of
There's a
thousands
1,800
under the
share
previous
order on Walls
administration and
at
president. So
90.
there could be nothing more America first than this operation that took
I will
place
click
last
this
week.
in time.
And I would just
Holy
remind
cow,
all of you
dude,
in
getting
this
down
room
to
that there were
4
innocent
cents.
Americans like Jocelyn Nungare who lost their lives
actually
at
get-
the hands of dangerous Venezuelan criminals who were sent here by the Maduro regime. And that has been the president's North Star and guiding principle throughout his entire policy since January 20th.
Tim Walz in Minnesota.
Oh,
Does the
somebody already
administration
hit.
believe that Tim Walz potentially dropped out of the governor's race because he could be under criminal investigation?
There's no liquidity.
I don't know if there's a criminal investigation. If there was, I wouldn't be able to comment on it from up here, to be honest with you.
Holy.
But I think Tim Walz probably
Oh,
dropped
there
out
it
of the
is,
race
there it
because
is.
he realizes he no longer has the
Good,
support of the
good,
people
because I had
of
no's
his own
originally.
state,
I'm so
which
glad
is a
that this
remarkable
hit.
downfall considering he
'Cause I was
the
trying to
number
get
2 on the
500
Democrat
no's.
Party's ticket just about a year ago. When it comes
Wow,
to
did you see there was a
Minnesota, the
5K
fraud
bid
that we
right
have seen,
before?
The wide scale of fraud is really remarkable. It's egregious. I would encourage every
Someone
single
just said in the
journalist in
Gauchi
this
court,
room
if Leering
to go
hits,
to
I will
Minnesota
jump off a
and cover it
bridge.
yourselves. As for the Trump administration, we have officials who have been on the ground almost every day. Secretary Noem was there yesterday. Secretary Bessent will be traveling there later this week to talk about the fraud and to do a roundtable
There's
on
fraud.
this very topic.
Man, I
And
tried to
would
click
just
that
like to
fraud
leave you
shares.
with
I
an
can't believe I didn't
update.
click them
To
fast
date,
enough.
the Department
I'm
of Justice
not
has
trading this
charged
live. I gotta
98
dial in. I'm
total
too focused on
defendants in several Medicaid
too focused
fraud
on
and related
talking
case
about this.
programs.
I gotta just
64 were
trade.
convicted,
Gosh.
And 85 of the 98 charged were of Somali descent. The DOJ
Oh,
has
so-
also issued over
wait.
1,700
Okay,
subpoenas,
yep, that counts.
executed over 130 search warrants, and they have now added more attorneys to their office there to absorb the case flow. DHS is on the ground going door to door conducting large-scale criminal
could definitely
and
be
HSI
ICE.
investigations. They have also sent
I know, Tonka.
approximately 2,000 agents to Minneapolis to assist with law enforcement and immigration enforcement. As I said, Secretary Noem was on the ground yesterday. The Department of Health and Human Services has also begun requiring a justification and photo evidence for all child care related payments nationwide, and they required Minnesota to conduct a full audit of
She's
all
getting ready to
child
wrap
care
it up.
centers. They also froze $185 million in funding
somebody-
to Minnesota.
somebody clicked
and,
that?
Dr. Oz, who was just here, also notified Governor Walz they're going to begin auditing
People know she's getting
Medicaid
ready to wrap up.
recipients and deferring payments on
What's the
claims
best
based
click?
on
What's the
waste,
best click?
fraud, and abuse. The Department of Labor is also conducting a targeted review of Minnesota's unemployment program. Department of Agriculture requiring Minnesota to conduct recertification for SNAP recipients, and HUD has launched investigations into the public housing. SBA has also suspended nearly
I'm gonna do this
7,000
early. I think
borrowers
she's wrapping
amid
up.
suspected fraudulent activity. So, with all of that, rest assured this is an all-hands-on-deck effort from the entire administration to get to the bottom of this and to ensure that the ripping off of taxpayers in the state of Minnesota,
Holy cow, I
and
could
it won't
get
just
wrecked
be
if she
Minnesota,
goes on.
it'll be any state across this country where fraud has taken place, and we are protecting law-abiding, tax-paying American citizens. Phil.
Oh my God, she's still going. Why did I think?
Follow up on Greenland. There are
Okay,
treaties
we got a
already on
hold
the
here.
books that
I
give
bought some notes
states,
pretty early.
Access to the island, they can construct and maintain.
For some reason, I thought she was like getting ready to wrap up really quick.
House personnel on the island.
I feel like I'm still. Wow,
Canadian
she's taking
takeoff,
another question.
anchorage,
I had just
etc.
such a feeling on
So,
that. It's weird.
I'm curious if you could just spell out for the American public what specifically would the U.S. gain by taking control of Greenland that the U.S. doesn't already have access to right now?
More control over the Arctic region and ensuring that China and
Get some
Russia
more,
and our adversaries cannot continue their aggression in this very important and strategic region. And there would be many other benefits as well that, again, the president and his national security team are currently talking about. Jeff, I'll give you another one.
Wow, she's still going.
A broad sort of stand-back question on foreign policy. Are you concerned about increasing tensions with Russia because of the tanker seizures? And how does the U.S. action in Venezuela impact the ongoing relationship with China and the president's relationship with President Xi?
I think
Okay,
the president
China.
has very open, honest, and good relationships with both President Putin of Russia and also President Xi of China. He has spoken with them numerous times, as you know, since coming to office about a year ago, and I believe
Oh my
that
gosh,
those
look at the
personal
click on
relationships are
border
going to
no.
continue.
Somebody
But
has a
as for
2K bid at
the
11.
president and the United States, he's going
This
to
could be the
enforce
greatest
our
click of all
policy
time.
That's best for the United States of America. And with respect to these ships seizures,
Yeah, she did.
That means
Raquan.
enforcing the embargo against all dark fleet
I will
vessels
hit
that
this
are
click.
illegally transporting oil, and only legitimate commerce, to answer your question much earlier, Rachel, determined by the United States is going to be permitted.
I
And
will
that's
get
the
this
policy of
click.
this administration, and he's not afraid to implement it.
One more stand back. Just one
Go
more
ahead.
stand back. I just want to ask the last one. I remember asking the president at the very beginning of his term.
I will
if
get
he
this
was
click.
committed to Article 5 and NATO. And
Nobody
he said
fight me
yes.
on this click.
Has his stance on NATO or his commitment to NATO changed?
Did you see his statement earlier today? He said, we will always be there for NATO, even if they are not there for us. And I think that answers your question directly. Yes.
Just to follow up on what Jeff was saying there, will the president commit that if any NATO members are attacked, the United States will come to it?
Again,
I
the
will
president
click
addressed
border.
this directly himself this morning after seeing the coverage from all of you in this room on television, and he made it very clear we're always going to be there for NATO, even if they have not done right by the United States of America, and they have not. They have finally increased their defense spending at the request of this
She
president.
looks
but it was
so
only because
like
of
she's
this
getting
president
ready to
that they
call
did
it.
that. We'll take a couple more. Michael. go
Okay, a
ahead.
couple more she just said. She's getting so close.
Thank you.
Two questions, if I
Me
may.
too.
One on healthcare, one on Mexico. On healthcare, the president says
Oh,
he wants
Mexico.
Republicans to be flexible on the Hyde Amendment.
Mexico
in order
could
to
be
pass
border. Is
healthcare
border gonna jump?
legislation. What is the White House's
Huh.
message to pro-life voters who say
It's
federal
not
funding
really
for
moving
abortion
much.
goes
It
against
could
their
move,
values?
though.
Well,
It
the
did move.
president
People
did
bought up
not
to
change the
36.
administration's
Okay.
policy. It was President Trump who signed an
Interesting.
executive order protecting the
Border
Hyde
now back up to
Amendment.
50,
It's the Trump
50.
administration that
Probably
has
could have
taken
flipped there for
multiple
like
actions
30s
on
to
various fronts
70.
To ensure that taxpayer dollars are not funding the practice of abortion. What the president was saying yesterday was Republicans and frankly
I think they're like
Democrats
voting
too,
Friday on
need
something
to
with the
show a
Supreme
little
Court,
bit more
Tonka.
flexibility so we
Maybe
can
on like the
actually
tariffs or
get
something.
something done with respect to the issue of health care. Republicans have amazing ideas. The president himself, as we spoke about earlier, has launched this Most Favored Nation drug pricing initiative, has cut good deals with Big Pharma. He wants to see Republicans and Democrats too, if they're willing, codify those executive orders into law so that these good deals can remain and these prices can continue to be lowered long
Wow,
after
yes,
this
all the way up to
president
80 on
and this
border
deal
because there's
maker
a
in
Mexico
chief is
question
gone.
coming up.
President's talked a lot about health savings accounts and giving more money back to the health
Oh, no, this could be-
consumer
this isn't gonna be
rather
stock
than to
market,
these
is it?
giant insurance
No,
companies.
okay, it's
and
on
he's been
healthcare.
very outspoken and tough on them too, and I think you'll see more and hear more from him directly on that issue. So he wants to see Congress get something done with respect to health care, and that was the point that he was driving
Okay,
home
now the
yesterday.
Mexico
Caroline,
Haley,
President
go
Trump says the drug cartels are running Mexico. What action does he need to see Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum, take to prove that she's in control of that country, in control of those cartels? And does the White
This
House
doesn't
believe
really
she's
feel like a
able to do
border
that
angle.
without U.S. intervention?
If it's
Look, I think the
about
president
cartels.
was speaking very candidly and frankly about the reality on the ground in Mexico. Haley.
Caroline,
Oh my
Happy
gosh.
New Year. I wanted to
Thanks,
ask
you
you
too.
about this.
Oh, they already adjusted from 79 to 89.
This that Russia had sent a submarine to escort it. Was there any engagement
Wow.
with that submarine? And then was the deconfliction line with Russia used ahead of boarding that?
Again, this was a Venezuelan shadow fleet
I'm gonna
vessel
click.
that has transported
I will
sanctioned
get
oil.
the
The
click.
vessel was deemed
I
stateless
will get the
after
click.
flying a false flag, and it had a judicial seizure
If it's
order.
the last
and
thing I
that's why the
do,
crew
I'm
will be
ready to
subject
click
prosecution.
2K.
Mary.
Man, she's taking so many questions.
Yeah, the president talked over the weekend and suggested that he would be open to an operation there. Should the president of Colombia be expecting Delta Force anytime soon? And then I had another one for you on California.
That would be a very unwise question for me to answer.
Unwise question,
What's your
doesn't
next
say
question?
stupid
On
question.
California, can you share any more about the fraud investigation? The president said that there was one.
Is there
Who's being
anything even
investigated,
related to
and
California?
Where is it starting?
Again, this is going to be a all hands on deck government-wide effort. The president has directed all agencies across the board to look at federal
Could this
spending
be an
programs
FBI?
in not just Minnesota but also in the state of California to identify fraud and to prosecute to the fullest extent of the law all those who have committed it. Take one more. Sure.
Thank you. Caroline, yesterday was the 5-year anniversary of January 6th. Democrats and mainstream media continue to push their big lie.
No,
that
they
it was
pulled
an
their big.
insurrection and that police officers died that day. The reality is
But
that 4
January
supporters
6th
died on
and
January
Democrats,
6th,
couldn't
and
that be
2
an
women
angle
were
for
killed by January
border?
6th police.
I should have bought.
Everybody knows Ashley Babbitt was shot in cold blood by Capitol Police Officer Michael Byrd, but there was another woman, her name was Roseanne Boylan from Georgia, and she was pepperballed, gassed, and ultimately brutally beaten with a stick by January 6th police officer Lila Morris.
Oh,
the
so
Biden
you're-
administration and mainstream media
Man,
lied and told Americans
I-
Roseanne Boylan
I
died
was
of
gonna
an
click these, but
overdose on Capitol steps.
this could
Her
still
family
be
is now asking
something.
for an investigation. Is the administration aware of the circumstances of her death?
I know
and
she
will
said
there be
one
an
more, but this
investigation
could
finally?
still be
Well,
like
for investigation, I will have to defer you to either the FBI or the Department of Justice. And I'm sorry
FBI.
to do that.
Oh my
but
gosh.
With respect to
I
all of the
should've-
facts that you just laid out, the White House relished the opportunity yesterday to actually create a new website to share the facts with the American public, but also all those in this room. We knew the media would be covering January 6th quite a bit because they think it's something that the American people are still believing their lies on. They think it's something that still helps their case against this president. Obviously not, or else he wouldn't have been reelected in an overwhelming fashion in November of last year. And so I would encourage everyone to take a look at the website. It's quite well done. And thank you all very much.
Boom.
It's great to be back with you.
No, it's all already bonded. Man, people are fast on bonding no's. Okay. I guess I should have hit the 2K bid when she said one more question, but I was like thinking there was a chance with it being Democrats somewhat related to Jan 6. She could say like, oh, well, Democrats did this, blah, 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 the border, blah, 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 blah. Pretty abysmal performance, only making $200 there. I'm not proud of myself. I'm not proud. We don't get a lot of these Levitt speeches, okay? That's just not good enough. Go look how long she spoke. It was at least an hour. Maybe hour 4 minutes. Oh my gosh, wow. A lot of debate on, did it cross 65? When exactly did she start talking? So, here we go.
Morning.
She just started, and that was at, what's the timestamp of that? Wait up. How do I see it with the...
Yes, come on up, everyone. Lovely officials with me today. All right.
This is like 105:30.
Come on.
So it seems like she was like hour 4 minutes. Holy cow, dude. Look at this graph. Look at this graph, dude. Over 65, almost bonded to yes. And then she just ended it. Crazy. Dude, from 100 down to 1. Maybe I should play these. But like how much? Look at that. Volume 3K. So that's why I don't play these. It's like, it's probably just some market maker quoting like a 30-cent spread. You know? And like no actual volume. Because this one did pretty good volume. Look at that, 640,000. I haven't even refreshed. Yeah, 640K. Pretty abysmal performance by us. Can't believe I didn't buy more. No stock market at 66. That was just such a free. You bonded over 40? Dang, this went on so long. Yeah, there were so many good plays in this market. I know, Tonka, it is kind of crazy. This is one of the lowest frequency Biden speeches she's given. Very bizarre. Well, whatever. You can't be upset when you make money, but I just feel like I should have made a lot more money here. Is what it is. Well, thank you all for tuning in. I know, eating up those 85. Dude, they were 70. They were at 79. I can't believe I didn't hit those at 79. After she didn't say border in the Mexico question. I need to realize, yes, there's a chance she's going to say it, but there's so much value taking the no at 79. But she said one more. Like, oh, I should have hit it. I should have hit it, and if I lost 2K, I lost 2K. That was bad on my part. That would have been like $400 right there. Whatever. Till next time, we'll be back. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this one. How can you not love Caro's speeches?